In this video, I will show you 5 tips how to not die in PoE 2. The first tip is rolling. You gotta roll all the time. You gotta roll, you gotta roll, you gotta roll. Basically, look at it like this. If you're dying, you're not rolling. It's that simple. Just get that in your head. You gotta roll all the time. If you die, just remember this is the first tip of this top 5. Just roll. Okay? Let's move on. Second one, distance. Depending on which class you are playing and what enemy you're fighting, you want to keep close or you want to keep your distance. So this really depends, and you gotta assess the situation each time with every mob and obviously every boss as well. And if you're dying, it means you're too close or you're too far away. One of those two. You gotta always be aware of that in this game. And this brings me to my third point, which would be that you have to recognize what you're fighting. Each enemy takes a different approach. Focus on long-range enemy first. You try to kill as many of those long rangers that are chipping at you from afar. Those are your first targets. But only if it's possible. So if it's not possible and there's too much of a big mob that's, you can get stuck in, it's better to retreat. Remember, retreat is only temporary. It's only like a strategic move that you're doing to get a kill. So keep that in mind. And now let's move on to the fourth one, which again kind of complements all of these previous ones, and it's patience. Slow approach. Okay? PoE 2 is a different game. This is a completely different ARPG than what we're used to. And you got to remember that this isn't a race. When you're playing and you don't want to die, the slower you go, the farther you'll get, which means that the longer you will survive. So keep in mind patience. Always play with a leveled head and you will never die, basically. And lastly, my fifth tip would be WSD. Whether you like it or not, when you first try it, you should seriously consider switching to WSD and never look back. Because the combat mechanics of this game basically requires this type of movement that WSD provides. So definitely consider using WSD or a controller if that's your preference, but personally I use WSD and I love it. So there you go. Those were my 5 tips how to not die. Please again like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.